What's up, cool people? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another Tuesday morning stream. This will pretty much be the same kind of thing as usual, just with a new Xbox in case you missed last Saturday's stream and didn't know that. Sorry. Morning. Throat's still waking up. Anyway, so gonna start off with a couple chapters of Bible study, then we'll hop into Kingdom Hearts 2, which should mostly involve me going through Halloween Town and maybe some more story stuff, but yeah, I'll update y'all on that when we get there. Not too much else to say. I guess I'm starting a little bit late. Just morning routine stuff combined with a little bit extra that I'm adding because of a certain thing that I'm doing. Kind of a self-assessment of sorts, you might say. But, anywho, okay. Early Twitch ad break, and then on to the Bible study. Oh, hey, Pop Taterhead, good morning. I'm glad you're here to learn some things. We'll have to see what we figure out as we go through all this. Yeah, so should be 2 Samuel 19 and 20 that we go through here. Let me just get a glimpse of how long this is going to be. Okay, so it's 43 verses for chapter 19. A bit on the longer side compared to what we've done recently, but 26 verses for chapter 20, so that's not too bad. Hopefully I can still go through all that in about an hour. Man, my throat is just really being weird this morning. It kind of was most of last night as well after I was eating an apple, kind of choked on it in the middle of eating it. I forget what exactly I was doing, but it was one of those situations where I wound up attempting to, like, breathe and swallow at the same time. But yeah, like, most of last night, at least while I was awake, wound up needing to clear my throat a bunch, and wasn't fun. Maybe that's still lingering this morning. I don't know. Alright. Got a few seconds left in the ad break, but then I think we can kind of hop right into Bible study stuff here. So, yeah. I suppose here we go. Alright, so we're looking at 2 Samuel chapter 19. Recent events, to give context. David's king, but he had some family troubles, especially some conflict between different sons of his. One of them killed the other, then fled. But, of course, David, being a very kind man, including as a father, kinda still felt some sympathy toward his living son, Absalom. So eventually, Joab, his commander, brings Absalom back. But then Absalom just turns on his father, David, and tries to strip the throne away from him. Whips up a rebellion. David flees to try to lessen the overall damage, especially to the capital. And they wind up fighting elsewhere. Absalom ends up dying, and of course, because that's David's son, he's kind of sad about all of it. And then we get to this chapter here. So here we go, 2 Samuel 19. Oh, right off the bat, what's shown as verse 1 here is actually verse 2 of the chapter in the original Hebrew text, or at least some of the Hebrew text that they pull the translations from. The first verse in those is actually the last verse here, where it mentions David being sad about Absalom's death. But as far as this chapter starts the way I think most modern Bibles would read, it goes a little bit like this. Word soon reached Joab that the king was weeping and mourning for Absalom. As all the people heard of the king's deep grief for his son, the joy of that day's victory was turned into deep sadness. They crept back into the town that day as though they were ashamed and had deserted in battle. The king covered his face with his hands and kept on crying, "Oh, my son Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son! My son!" So, yeah. Clearly distraught over the loss of his son Absalom. Now, he had specifically told his troops, like, to be kind to Absalom, implying, hey, don't kill him, if at all possible. But Joab kind of had it in his mind that, especially because like an easy opportunity to kill Absalom came about, he was dangling from a tree by his head in some way or another. Basically, Joab's like, okay, well, we can quell this rebellion right here, right now, if we just kill him. So, that's what happened. But David is sad over the loss of another son, essentially. And because of his attitude, his mood surrounding this whole situation, that winds up affecting all of his troops. If not more. This chapter is a little bit on the long side, so I'm going to keep rolling along. Try not to spend too long explaining my thoughts on a given section. Okay, verse 5. Then Joab went to the king's room and said to him, "We saved your life today, and the lives of your sons, your daughters, and your wives and concubines. Yet you act like this, making us feel ashamed of ourselves. You seem to love those who hate you and hate those who love you. You have made it clear today that your commanders and troops mean nothing to you. It seems that if Absalom had lived and all of us had died, you would be pleased. Now go out there and congratulate your troops, for I swear by the Lord that if you don't go out, not a single one of them will remain here tonight. Then you will be worse off than ever before." So Joab's basically correcting David, saying, all right, look, we just saved you and a bunch of people you care about a whole lot of trouble. Or at least you would think, people would think that you care about the other sons of yours, your wives, your daughters, the people of Israel in general. And yet, you're weeping over this. Makes it seem like you care more about your enemies than you do about the ones that you're kind of supposed to care for. So, like, buck up, go out there, and say something to the people, especially to your troops, positive about this. Like, we did a good thing, don't make them feel like it's bad. That's what Joab is saying to David, basically. Lost broadcast. Oh, yeah. That's... Oh. I dropped a bunch of frames. Might be just a minor connection issue. Hopefully it comes back on its own. If not, maybe just try refreshing. I don't know. I'm getting a decent signal at the moment. Alright. On to verse 8. So the king went out and took his seat at the town gate. And as the news spread throughout the town that he was there, everyone went to him. Meanwhile, the Israelites who had supported Absalom fled to their homes. And throughout all the tribes of Israel, there was much discussion and argument going on. People were saying, "The king rescued us from our enemies and saved us from the Philistines, but Absalom chased him out of the country. Now Absalom, whom we anointed to rule over us, is dead. Why not ask David to come back and be our king again?" Okay, pausing there for a bit. Sherry, welcome to the stream. Hello. How are you today? We're reading through the Bible some to start things off. Going through 2 Samuel currently. Me, I'm pretty good. The only kind of questionable thing overall in my life, or at least the most questionable thing overall in my life right now, is job situation. Like, the work that I've been doing kind of ran out, and so I've been looking for other stuff. Right now, that other stuff, I'm still kind of getting used to it. Oh, geez, really? Okay, I'm sorry, but I can't stop for an ad break. I did one early on, but because Twitch apparently lost connection, it seems to think I'm starting the stream all over. Anyway, okay. But yeah, aside from the job issues, things seem to be going pretty well. Could be a bit of a shove towards doing more of this, maybe. I felt God sort of leading me this way for a while, but I've been reluctant to just, like, dive into the deep end. But we'll see how it all turns out. God's got it one way or another. Okay, so it just says the king went out and took his seat and that the people gathered around, other than the one who had supported Absalom. But then those people kind of got together and were like, look, David's been good in general throughout this. He saved us from our enemies. Yeah, we liked Absalom, but David's not bad either. Maybe we should ask him to be king again. It still doesn't say that David actually fully said anything to the people broadly at this moment. But let's see what happens in verse 11. Then King David sent Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, to say to the elders of Judah, "Why are you the last ones to welcome back the king into his palace? For I have heard that all Israel is ready. You are my relatives, my own tribe, my own flesh and blood. So why are you the last ones to welcome the king?" And David told them to tell Amasa, "Since you are my own flesh and blood, like Joab, may God strike me and even kill me if I do not appoint you as commander of my army in his place." In Joab's place? I'm not sure, because Joab's still alive and well. It seems like an odd choice, unless David's doing this because he's kind of tired of Joab going against what he has suggested before. But, so I guess it was, in part, people of Judah that had supported Absalom being king. I don't know. Whatever the circumstances were, Judah, where David had basically been, like, headquartered the entire time, where he was literally from, were delaying in accepting him back, it seemed. Oh, should have looked down a little further and just read this verse too. Verse 14 says, Then Amasa convinced all the men of Judah, and they responded unanimously. They sent word to the king, Return to us, and bring back all who are with you. Okay. So I guess because of David's communication to Amasa, Amasa comes back and is like, Alright guys, we really don't have any reason to reject David as king at this point. Let's just get it over with. Now the note there for David, Hebrew reads he, so it could have been Amasa doing the convincing, or it could have been David. Apparently the Hebrew reads as he, which, given the previous sentence, it could be referring to Amasa, or it could be referring to David. David was the one telling his officials or the priests to tell Amasa. It's one of the two. Either way, at this point, the men of Judah are all convinced to welcome David back as king. And to bring all of his men with him. Alright. Got a lot of the chapter to go. Let's keep rolling here. Verse 15. So the king started back to Jerusalem. And when he arrived at the Jordan River, the people of Judah came to Gilgal to meet him and escort him across the river. Shimei, son of Gera, the man from Bahurim in Benjamin, hurried across with the men of Judah to welcome King David. 1,000 other men from the tribe of Benjamin were with him, including Ziba, the chief servant of the house of Saul, and Ziba's 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed down to the Jordan to meet the king. They crossed the shallows of the Jordan to bring the king's household across the river, helping him in every way they could. So, refresher, Ziba's the guy that was a servant in a way of King Saul before David. But after Saul and Jonathan died in battle against the Philistines and David became king, David wants to help out Jonathan's one son, Mephibosheth, who was crippled and couldn't really help himself as well. David helps him out, and as part of that, he asks Ziba to take care of the land that he was essentially giving to Mephibosheth. Then supposedly Mephibosheth joins the rebellion against David when Absalom kind of swoops in and tries to take over. David bumps into Ziba again and is like, alright, well, if Mephibosheth is going to treat me like that, then it's all yours instead of his. Needless to say, the two seem to be on good terms. So, David and his men crossed the Jordan River, headed back to Jerusalem. And they have a crew of people there, including Ziba, trying to help him on his way back. Continuing, I guess, halfway through verse 18. As the king was about to cross the river, Shimei fell down before him. My lord the king, please forgive me, he pleaded. Forget the terrible thing that your servant did when you left Jerusalem. May the king put it out of his mind. I know how much I sinned. That is why I have come here today, the very first person in all Israel to greet my lord the king. Then Abishai son of Zeruiah said, Shimei should die, for he cursed the Lord's anointed king. Who asks your opinion, you sons of Zeruiah? David exclaimed. Why have you become my adversary today? This is not a day for execution, for today I am once again the king of Israel. Then turning to Shimei, David vowed, your life will be spared. So, yeah, Shimei, as David and his men were fleeing Jerusalem because of Absalom's rebellion, Shimei, was just throwing curses out at David and his men, literally also throwing dirt and rocks at them, seemingly bitter over David maybe having a hand in some way in Saul's downfall. He was a relative of Saul, I think. So, yeah. He I guess, was holding a grudge about that whole situation. But now that they're on the way back, of course, Abishai, so Abishai, Joab in particular, those two, being brothers, both sons of Zeruiah, seemed to clash with David somewhat often as far as how to handle things. Abishai thinks Shimei should die. David's like, no, this is a happy day. We're not going to kill him. So yeah. Note here, Hebrews says in the house of Joseph rather than in all Israel. Because the house of Joseph specifically would have been the tribes of, I want to say, I don't know. There's two sub tribes that were not fully named after sons of Jacob / Israel. They were named after Joseph's sons. So at the very least, he's saying he's the first among those sub-tribes to greet David, and he's apologizing for what he said before. Note there says prosecutor rather than adversary. Bit of a different meaning, but still, in context, it doesn't change the overall saying as much. I guess it makes it sound more like Abishai is trying to tell David what to do by using the word prosecutor rather than adversary. But, okay, so they're still making their way back to Jerusalem. Let me grab a sip of water here. On to verse 24. Now Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, came down from Jerusalem to meet the king. He had not cared for his feet, trimmed his beard, or washed his clothes since the day the king left Jerusalem. "Why didn't you come with me, Mephibosheth?" the king asked him. Mephibosheth replied, "My lord the king, my servant Ziba deceived me. I told him, 'Saddle my donkey so I can go with the king.' For as you know, I am crippled. Ziba has slandered me by saying that I refused to come. But I know that my lord the king is like an angel of God, so do what you think is best. All my relatives and I could expect only death from you, my lord, but instead you have honored me by allowing me to eat at your own table. What more can I ask?" "You've said enough," David replied. "I've decided that you and Ziba will divide your land equally between you." "Give him all of it," Mephibosheth said. "I am content just to have you safely back again, my lord the king." So, turns out maybe Ziba was lying to David before. But there's no real, proof, at least not yet, of who's really telling the truth here. So, David, kind of wanting to believe them equally, it seems, is like, all right, well, you know what? I'll split the land between you two. But Mephibosheth is just like, hey, you know what? I I haven't deserved any of the stuff you've given me even up to this point. Ziba can have the land. I'm just glad that you're all right and everything's like kind of okay between us, hopefully. This part is always making me wonder, why is this recorded on the history? Yeah, well, I mean, there could be a couple of reasons it's recorded. One, possibly for record of land dispute and or, you know, like changing of hands. But also, I mean, it initially brought up Mephibosheth because that was David's way of taking care of Jonathan's descendants after he died. And Mephibosheth was really the only living son of Jonathan. So, you know, it was initially brought up because of that. So now there's continued interaction since Mephibosheth has been mentioned, and it's just a thing that David keeps coming back to and having to deal with. Note there, Mephibosheth is another name from Meribbaal, which I'm sure has a slightly different meaning in Hebrew. Feel free to go look that up. It's still probably referring to the same person. It's just a lot of times when it gives these name differentiations, it's either because ancient Hebrew is vastly different than English, for sure, and or it's because there might be a slight difference in the meaning of the name that sometimes could give extra insight into the person and what they were like or what God had planned for them. But for the most part, it's not like crucial to understanding the story and what's generally going on. So Mephibosheth was talking with Ziba, saying, "Saddle my donkey." Greek, Syriac, and Latin versions read like that. Hebrew reads, "I will saddle a donkey for myself." But how would he do that being crippled? That was the big thing about Mephibosheth, too. He was crippled from a very young age. And it tried back in, I want to say, chapter 4, to explain how he became crippled, just because that was roughly when it would have happened in the sequence of events. Even though it wasn't until chapter 9 that he and David really interacted and he really became any significant part of the story. But yeah, it's... either way, he either was not helped or was somehow stopped. I don't know. But it would make sense that he couldn't really saddle up a donkey and get himself out of there on his own because of being crippled. So maybe Ziba had a hand in that not happening. I don't know. Anyway. And more people David encounters along the way back. Verse 31. Barzillai of Gilead had come down from Rogelim to escort the king across the Jordan. He was very old, 80 years of age, and very wealthy. He was the one who had provided food for the king during his stay in Mahanaim. "Come across with me and live in Jerusalem," the king said to Barzillai. "I will take care of you there." "No," he replied. "I am far too old to go with the king to Jerusalem. I am 80 years old today, and I can no longer enjoy anything. Food and wine are no longer tasty, and I cannot hear the singers as they sing. I would only be a burden to my lord the king. Just to go across the Jordan River with the king is all the honor I need. Then let me return again to die in my own town, where my father and mother are buried. But here is your servant, my son Kimham, Let him go with my lord the king, and receive whatever you want to give him." "Good," the king agreed. "Kimham will go with me, and I will help him in any way you would like, and I will do for you anything you want." So all the people crossed the Jordan with the king. After David had blessed Barzillai and kissed him, Barzillai returned to his own home. The king then crossed over to Gilgal, taking Kimham with him. All the troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel escorted the king on his way. Now, I think it mentions the troops of Judah and of Israel separately there, because the troops of Judah were probably the ones that had gone with David as he left. And the rest of Israel, that was the army that Absalom had kind of rounded up to try and fight David. At least I'm thinking that's how it happened. Not 100% sure on that, but that's probably why it distinguishes the two. Because, yes, Judah was part of Israel, but there had been some differences in how things happened over the course of time. Like, Judah accepted David as king before the rest of Israel did, and other things of that sort. So, this guy Barzillai, who had basically helped take care of David while he was in Mahanaim, which was where he kind of made his base, so to speak, when fighting against Absalom's rebellion. David wants to thank Barzillai, but Barzillai is like, "No, I'm too old. It's not going to make much difference to me. Take my son with you and bless him instead of me." And they agree to that. So then they cross the Jordan River after all this, or in amongst all this, I don't know, on the way back to Jerusalem. And then we get to verse 41. "But all the men of Israel complained to the king. 'The men of Judah stole the king and didn't give us the honor of helping take you, your household, and all your men across the Jordan.' The men of Judah replied, 'The king is one of our own kinsmen. Why should this make you angry? We haven't eaten any of the king's food or received any special favors.' 'But there are 10 tribes in Israel,' the others replied. 'So we have 10 times as much right to the king as you do. What right do you have to treat us with such contempt? Weren't we the first to speak of bringing him back to be our king again?' The argument continued back and forth, and the men of Judah spoke even more harshly than the men of Israel." So, I guess the rest of the men of Israel wanted to wait a little longer to, actually get their people down there to help welcome David. But men of Judah perhaps wanted to act quickly as a way of showing that they weren't hesitant to have David as king anymore, like it mentioned they had been early in the chapter. But with their quickness in this whole situation, that makes everybody else not so much able to get there and help to the extent that they wanted, or to welcome David back the way they wanted. So it makes the rest of them look kind of bad, because it seems like they weren't there to help and to support David when they wanted to do so. That kind of seems to be what the argument is all about. The other tribes of Israel are looking at Judah like, "Dude, come on. What are you doing? You're making us look bad." And why? And Judah is pretty much arguing that, well, we're direct family of David. So, he's one of us. more so than he is one with the rest of you. So, yeah, they're arguing like this back and forth, and that's actually where the chapter ends. So I guess that'll do it for 2 Samuel 19. Well, that is just the first of the 2 chapters I plan to do today. Next chapter is a bit shorter. And with the way things happen in the stream and the ad breaks and whatnot, I should have, I would think, enough time to get through this before the next ad break hits. By the way, for anyone who's wondering how, I don't know, if you read, like, the stream notification or whatever, talking about David and Jack Skellington having anything in common, I'm thinking later on when I get into Kingdom Hearts 2, we're going into Halloween Town, and it's going to involve the stuff with Jack trying to help with Christmas plans and whatnot, and at the end of that, Santa winds up correcting Jack. So, the nature of them both being corrected in some way is the common thread. But we'll get to that when we get there. I'm not going to guarantee that I get that far into the Halloween Town story. That was just what came to mind and why I titled the stream and described it the way that I did. For anyone who was curious. Okay. Moving along with Bible study. On to the next chapter. Oh yeah, by the way, feel free to, like, leave comments and questions and stuff like that in the chat. Like, I do not mind that at all. Just know that I might delay my response a little bit if I'm in the middle of a major thought or I'm reading something. Okay. So now we're looking at 2 Samuel chapter 20. Absalom's rebellion was quelled. David is making his way back to Jerusalem. Has a bunch of interactions with a bunch of different people on the way. Mostly, David is showing kindness to them, whether or not they were kind to him. And then there's a little bit of an argument over the tribe of Judah apparently swooping in kind of early to help David across and welcome him, because the rest of Israel also wanted to welcome him and help him out, and the rest of the tribes are thinking Judah's making them look bad. Perhaps intentionally. Emerald Frost Dragon on YouTube. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm generally doing pretty well. How are you? We're getting into some Bible study here. Just going through start to finish. Currently in 2 Samuel chapter 20. About to get started with reading through it. And then we'll hop into some Kingdom Hearts. Got us hanging with arguments before. Seems it didn't resolve. Or maybe that winds up having an effect on the ensuing events here. Maybe that argument is part of the reason why this upcoming stuff happens. We'll just have to see. I don't know for sure, but that's my suspicion, if I had to take a guess. Anyway, alright. So, 2 Samuel chapter 20. There happened to be a troublemaker there named Sheba, son of Bichri, a man from the tribe of Benjamin. Sheba blew a ram's horn and began to chant, "Down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Come on, you men of Israel, back to your homes." So all the men of Israel deserted David and followed Sheba, son of Bichri. But the men of Judah stayed with their king and escorted him from the Jordan River to Jerusalem. So, it says there happened to be a troublemaker there, which I'm thinking is there as in the midst of the argument that happened at the end of last chapter. So as they're bickering over whether or not Judah should have done what they did, this guy's like, all right, forget this then. We're not going to welcome David. We're going to go back to our homes and then possibly even, like, you know, stir up some trouble, revolt against him. So, Emerald, this is involving David. This is not the first story that that people think about when thinking of David. This is much later, as he's king, and there's been a whole bunch of conflict and stuff. But yeah, definitely related to King David. Okay, verse 3. When David came to his palace in Jerusalem, he took the 10 concubines he had left to look after the palace. Doggone it, I keep wanting to read that as place. Anyway. He took the 10 concubines he had left to look after the palace and placed them in seclusion. Their needs were provided for, but he no longer slept with them. So each of them lived like a widow until she died. Quick note about that. That might have been because of Absalom when he was there. He was advised to sleep with, I will air quote, David's concubines that had been left behind as sort of a sign of dominance. That he was the king now, and that people should treat him as such. So, not wanting to go back to them, David, I think, placed them in seclusion, as it describes here. Sherry says, it's usually Benjamin's tribe is with the tribe of Judah. It's before Israel mentioned 10 tribes. Not sure, though. Yeah, like... So, if I remember right, I mean, not that this actually plays a factor here, but in terms of sons of Jacob, I think Judah was the oldest, and Benjamin was the youngest. It says nothing about the current situation, but, like, they were not exactly one and the same tribe. I'm just trying to remember. It could be saying that there were 10 tribes in Israel, referring to the 10, like, contiguous tribes on the same side of the Jordan River, because there were actually 2 that had been they like set up their land before the initial crossing of the Jordan River into the bulk of the promised land, you know, back when it was Moses and Joshua leading them. Simeon might have been the first, I'm not sure. But, again, I don't think that really plays a part in this. That was mostly just to say that Benjamin and Judah were, to my knowledge, in no way, like, combined. Or, I mean, they might have often agreed on things, but they definitely were separate entities. So then the fact that it was somebody from the tribe of Benjamin stirring up trouble might have made it all the more impactful if Benjamin tended to kind of side with Judah on a lot of things. But that's a bit of speculation. I'm not going to say I know for sure what's going on there. And apologies if stream is getting a little janky. I'm noting some frame drops. Alright. So anyway, I need to get moving along here. Verse 4. Then the king told Amasa, mobilize the army of Judah within 3 days and report back at that time. So Amasa went out to notify Judah, but it took him longer than the time he had been given. Then David said to Abishai, Sheba, son of Bichri, is going to hurt us more than Absalom did. Quick, take my troops and chase after him before he gets into a fortified town where we can't reach him." So Abishai and Joab, together with the king's bodyguard and all the mighty warriors, set out from Jerusalem to go after Sheba. As they arrived at the great stone in Gibeon, Amasa met them. Joab was wearing his military tunic with a dagger strapped to his belt. As he stepped forward to greet Amasa, he slipped the dagger from its sheath. Hang on a sec. Before I continue that. So, the king was trusting Amasa to, I guess, go and either quell the rebellion or like try to bring about some peace or something, or at least figure out what was going on. But it took Amasa too long, so then David also sends Abishai and Joab with even more troops, specifically his own bodyguard, like the best of the best. And now they're going to see what's happening with Sheba and Amasa and that whole situation. I get a feeling Joab is suspicious of Amasa here. Real quick, looking at Sherry's comments. So the order was, oh yeah, Reuben was the oldest. Yeah, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Yeah. But I'm trying to remember. Now, I know Dan had troubles actually establishing its land fully within Israel. So that might have actually been one tribe down. But I'm not 100% sure why they said 10 tribes in Israel, unless it was as simple as the whole Jordan River separation thing. But anyway, lest I digress on that further. Notes here, where it mentions Abishai and Joab. Hebrew said, "So Joab's men," rather than Abishai and Joab. Together with the king's bodyguard, Hebrew says the Kerethites and Pelethites. Those just happen to be the people groups that were part of the king's bodyguard, I think. And where it's mentioning the dagger, Hebrew says, as he stepped forward, it fell out. This makes it seem more intentional. Which, I guess we'll see what happens with that whole dagger and his exchange with Amasa here in a bit. Verse 9. "How are you, my cousin?" Joab said, and took him by the beard with his right hand as though to kiss him. Amasa didn't notice the dagger in his left hand, and Joab stabbed him in the stomach with it so that his insides gushed out onto the ground. Joab did not need to strike again, and Amasa soon died. Joab and his brother Abishai left him lying there and continued after Sheba. So, yeah, whether it was a trust issue or just Joab trying to take matters into his own hands again, Joab kills Amasa and decides, okay, we're going to take it from here. Verse 11. One of Joab's young men shouted to Amasa's troops, "If you are for Joab and David, come and follow Joab." But Amasa lay in his blood in the middle of the road, and Joab's men saw that everyone was stopping to stare at him. So he pulled him off the road into a field and threw a cloak over him. With Amasa's body out of the way, everyone went on with Joab to capture Sheba, son of Bichri. So... So a man from Joab's group is trying to tell those that were following Amasa, hey, come join us. We're going to take care of this together, assuming you're with us. It mentions everyone stopping and staring at Amasa's dead body, basically. And whether that was a distraction or perhaps made them hesitant to come join Joab's group, whatever the case was, this young man is like, okay, well, everybody's looking at this. This might be a problem. Drags him away and covers him up so that all of that stops, I guess. So the pursuit of Sheba continues. Then we get to verse 14. Meanwhile, Sheba traveled through all the tribes of Israel and eventually came to the town of Abel Beth Maachah. All the members of his own clan, the Bichrites, assembled for battle and followed him into the town. When Joab's forces arrived, they attacked Abel Beth Maachah. They built a siege ramp against the town's fortifications and began battering down the wall. But a wise woman in the town called out to Joab, "Listen to me, Joab. Come over here so I can talk to you." As he approached, the woman asked, "Are you Joab?" "I am," he replied. So she said, "Listen carefully to your servant." "I'm listening," he said. Then she continued, "There used to be a saying, if you want to settle an argument, ask advice at the town of Abel. I am one who is peace-loving and faithful in Israel, but you are destroying an important town in Israel. Why do you want to devour what belongs to the Lord?" Pause in there for a bit. Okay, so Sheba says traveled through all the tribes of Israel, got to this certain town, and it doesn't say who all was there to fight with him other than his own clan, which isn't surprising that his own clan would join him for battle. Probably some others, but it doesn't say who else and how many or anything like that, so we can't make any assumptions there. And because it was a fortified town, when Joab and his men get there, they're like trying to break down or break through the wall so they can get in there and, you know, fully mount an attack. But then this woman talks with Joab and is like, "Hey, what are y'all doing? This place is pretty important. Can't you figure something else out? Or, like, do you not care about the significance of this town? What's going on here? Why are you doing this?" Note there at the Bichrites, as in Greek and Latin versions, Hebrew reads all of the Berites rather than Bichrites. I don't recall any particular other mention of any Berites or Bichrites, so it might have just been a way of different ways of referring to the same people, or just a translation oddity or something like that. I don't know if there was any particular significance to either name, or if they were different groups of people, how that might have made a difference in things. But I mean, Bichri was just, I think it just mentioned that Bichri was the father of Sheba here. Yeah. So, like, he was of the tribe of Benjamin. Like, their clan within Benjamin wasn't necessarily named the Bicrites just because that was Sheba's father's name. It might have been that the Berites were the name of the broader clan, but this is saying Bicrites because otherwise it doesn't make much sense. How they would be associated with Sheba, I'm not totally sure on that. I'm trying to make some sense of it, though. Also, note down here when the woman is talking with Joab, destroying an important town in Israel, the note there says, Hebrew might read a town that is a mother in Israel. Just another way of referring to the importance of it, I guess. Possibly also signifying sort of a caring nature of the town, one that seeks to help others or Israel as a whole, because it did mention people going to there for advice. So, anyway, it was important in some way for sure, whatever the wording is there. Alright, so after the woman asks, why are you guys doing this? We get to verse 20. And Joab replied, believe me, I don't want to devour or destroy your town. That's not my purpose. All I want is a man named Sheba, son of Bichri, from the hill country of Ephraim, who has revolted against King David. If you hand over this one man to me, I will leave the town in peace. All right, the woman replied. We will throw his head over the wall to you. Then the woman went to all the people with her wise advice, and they cut off Sheba's head and threw it out to Joab. So he blew the ram's horn and called his troops back from the attack. They all returned to their homes, and Joab returned to the king at Jerusalem. That puts an end to that rebellion, I would guess. The guy who's leading it just kind of gets killed by the people of the town where he's mounting his defense. So, like, if they didn't support him, who knows what else was going to happen to, like, the other men that were supporting him and how the rest of that was going to go. I would guess not well if they continued rebelling. Okay, verse 23. Now Joab was the commander of the army of Israel. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was captain of the king's bodyguard. Adoniram was in charge of forced labor. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the royal historian. Shiva was the court secretary. Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Ira, a descendant of Jair, was David's personal priest. Okay, odd that it would mention that there. Unless this is kind of saying like, okay, now that things have settled down a bit, here's who was in charge of things. That's my best guess. I mean, we knew Joab was commander. And I think some of these other roles were mentioned before. So it might also be wanting to point out some distinctions and differences between who was in charge of different things when David started out as king versus how it came to be at this point after these various rebellions and revolts. Kyoti, welcome. How are you? Also, since you said it like that, boop, I guess. There's a note here at Adoniram that says in the Greek version, which might also share a cross-reference with 1 Kings. Hebrew reads Adoram. So, rather than I guess the nai isn't there in the Hebrew, but again, might be a little hard to tell because Hebrew is a very different language. It like didn't even have vowels. At least ancient Hebrew didn't even have vowels and certain other letters that we would tend to think of. That's also part of the reason why I slipped into like more of a Y sound at this name here. I don't know why, it just seemed like it flowed a little better. Anyway, okay. That's all I got for 2 Samuel chapter 20. Maybe things will be a little bit more peaceful for David after this. But we'll have to wait and find out. It gave me favor with the lady who did my interview, and I got my benefits back. Nice. It is good to have groceries and necessities like that. Forgive me if I don't recall the exact details of the situation you had, but it definitely sounds like things are better right now, and that's good. Okay. Planned Bible study portion of the stream is done. I'm going to go ahead. Ads are coming up soon-ish. I'm probably going to run them early just to give myself a little bit of a break. And also to ease the combination of that and the transition. Yeah, no problem, Sherry. Honestly, part of my strategy with all this is to kind of use the gaming portion of things to bring people in and get them more interested, and hopefully then maybe through some conversations they'll come back and end up seeing and or being part of the Bible study stuff. But like, people are totally fine to just not engage with that if that's how they are. I mean, if they're a believer already, I would hope they want to engage in some Bible study. But I'm certainly not going to sit here and try and do a thing where I reel people in with something else and then try and, you know, hit them with something that maybe they don't want. I don't know. It's tried to be kind of loose with this and free-flowing. Jake, hello. Lady said it was nonsense that I lost my benefits over 2 days of work. Oh, geez, yeah, what? Yeah, stream has been having some issues with frame drops today. I apologize for all that. I wish there was something I could do, but I have tried all sorts of different things in the past, and none of it seems to really help. Okay. As I mentioned before, I'm going to take a bit of a break, run some ads on Twitch, and then I'll be back with Kingdom Hearts. So, see you in a bit. Okay. Getting into Kingdom Hearts stuff here now. Let me bring out my own background music, because we'll have plenty of it from Kingdom Hearts stuff. Whoa. I lingered on a preview of a window on my desktop, and yeah. Got blinded by a bunch of bright light. Okay, not literally blinded. It's an exaggeration, but anyway, okay. Webcam, I will probably want somewhere around, like, here for once I get into the game. Alrighty. Yeah. I assume this is where I'll want to continue from. I'm at the highest level out of the save files there, and it also has the most playtime associated with it. You know what? I done goofed. Halloween Town isn't the next one to go to, it's Agrabah. But you know what? I might be able to just skip to Halloween Town anyway. I'm at the battle level mentioned, and so you know what? Let's do it. For the sake of the title and me not looking dumb and like I had no clue what I was doing. Alrighty. So I'm gonna start recording. Feel free to leave comments as usual. I might not reply to them if there's a cutscene going on. But otherwise, yeah, feel free. I will try to stay engaged with chat as much as I reasonably can. Alright, recording starts now. Okay, so while Agrabah would be the normal next world to go to, I can also go to Halloween Town. I am at that level. And, yeah. I think I'm going to shake it up a little bit. And we've got a cutscene. Confession time, I also titled the stream from which this recording comes in such a way that it was supposed to have a connection to Jack Skellington, so that's also why I'm going to Halloween Town. No. Jake's like, more super bosses. Super bosses I will save for the Saturday streams when I'm not recording, or at least not focused on recording so much.
Hey, this is Halloween Town, right?
Well, it sure does look like Halloween.
I mean, those lights don't look
Zero.
that
How have you
much
been,
like
boy?
not Halloween. So I'm not sure I get Donald's confusion there. Mithril shard. I'll get other treasure stuff later.
What's that for?
It's Jack.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy! Welcome back! And Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas? Don't you mean Happy Halloween?
Of course! Halloween greetings from Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King! Forgive me, I'm in a Christmas mood. You see, I'm running the show again this year, but I need Sandy Claus' blessing, so I'm off to Christmas Town.
Sandy Claus?
I think he means Santa Claus.
Aren't these decorations wonderful? This year, Halloween Town's going to handle Christmas too.
Oh, really?
But first, we have to visit Sally. She's working on something no self-respecting Santa Claus can do without. Come along, I'll show you.
A Halloween Town Christmas. Want to go check it out?
Come on, hurry!
I don't see why the Christmassy Halloween stuff would be that much scarier than what they've seen here before. Okay. Dr. Finkelstein's thinking
Hello,
about
Doctor.
something.
Where's Sally?
Can't you see that I'm in the middle of an experiment? Hey, this is way too heavy.
Then let's toss it.
You do, and you'll be sorry. Now bring it over here. Hee-haw!
Yeah. That wasn't good. But, you know. They're troublemakers. It's not surprising.
Imbeciles, now my experiment is ruined!
Sally, did you finish it? I want to show my good friends.
I'm sorry, Jack. I need a little bit more time.
Oh. Well, that's all right. Just as long as it's ready for Christmas.
But, Jack...
I'd best be off. I've got to go get Sandy Claus right away. Wonderful to see you again. Goodbye for now.
Go get Santa Claus.
Please, Sora. I'm afraid something terrible will happen if Jack goes through with this.
You can try that again.
Sora? Are those strange-looking fellows in the town square with you?
Huh? What fellows?
You know, the ones who wanted to spoil Halloween and Christmas? What are they called again? Heartless?
They're definitely not with us. But Donald, Goofy, and I can get rid of them for you. And then we can go see Santa. But first, the Heartless.
Sora's not excited to see Santa at all. Like, you know what? In the spirit of keeping things different and interesting, I think I'll have Jack in here too. Maybe use his limit once or twice. Treasure over here. Security system installed in Jack's house is working properly as expected. Security system? Gonna save here real quick. I'll do it in this file.
Now hear this, you fiends! Leave Halloween Town at once, by order of the mayor! Jack, where are you? I'm only an elected official. I can't handle this by myself! Jack!
We're on it.
Defeat all the Heartless. Okay.
It's over. Jack, prepare to scream.
Dang, that was a lot of hits.
Let's go.
Even more Heartless. Yep. And I get hit by the environment. Before I got hit by literally any of the Heartless. So I'm just here floating around. And kind of staying away from them. KH2 says the mayor's such a whiner. Kinda, yeah. How is Sandy Claus supposed to relax with all this going on? That's it, fellows. Sandy Claus needs bodyguards. Are you up to the task? Us? Yeah.
What should we bring along next time?
A bucket full of caterpillars!
Or something even worse? Who's that? Some old hag?
Silence.
A witch?
Perhaps you three could be of use to
Oh,
me.
she's a witch, all right.
Come along, all of you. I'll show you the true meaning of mischief.
All right, bodyguards. Christmas Town is this way. The doorway is in the woods just past the graveyard.
Actually, I'm realizing I need to move my webcam up. Or, need is a strong word, but I would like to move it up just a little bit further. Energy shard there. That goes to Dr. Finkelstein's. Treasure there. Puzzle piece that I can't quite get. Okay. I think that covers the treasures. At least in this area.
It's over. Jack, prepare to scream.
I don't know if there are actually any more enemies here right now. half the reason I did that was just to use up MP so then the drive gauge would recover quicker. Okay. Making sure I'm not missing any treasures like this one. Okay, now we'll go this way. The other direction comes later. Treasure there. Treasure there. Puzzle piece here. Duality. Still not the one that I only have a single puzzle piece missing from, I think. How much you want to bet that's like the one that's in Hollow Bastion that I haven't gotten yet?
Here it is, the door to Christmas Town. The spooks of Halloween can get so tiresome year after year. I wanted something new, and I found this. Beyond this door is a world filled with wonders the likes of which you've never seen. At first, I couldn't believe my eyes. Everything was so fresh and exciting.
Come on, just open it.
Oh, Sora clearly is one to just jump right in. Yeah, it does make me wonder about other holiday towns, like, how come we never get like an Easter town or a 4th of July town?
Cool.
Although 4th of July isn't as much of a thing globally. So I guess that's understandable. But Easter!
In his workshop. Shall we?
I figured they'd have to actually expand the Nightmare Before Christmas story first. Also, I don't remember Goofy looking quite like that in the original version of Kingdom Hearts 2. Is that just me? I don't remember Goofy looking quite so Christmassy. Speaking of which, you know what? Oh, won't let me swap out the party like that? Why? I feel like going back to Goofy in the party. Ooh, anything here that I don't have? Technician's ring. Aquamarine ring. And a platinum ring. Just because I don't have them. An EP boost for completing a collection. Nice. Uh-huh. Can make one of these. Why not? Increase Moogle's level. I can only do one or the other. I care more about the Moogle's level first. So, synthesize. I will worry about actually changing out that equipment when I'm in between bits of recording, I think. Alright. On to Christmas Town.
Here too?
On guard, loyal bodyguards.
Now, I know some of this stuff ends up being easier with magnets available. But actually, here of all places specifically, magnet wouldn't be that big of a deal. Because the carousel thing in the middle acts kind of like a magnet, doesn't it? Ow. Stop it. Spin. Okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Oh well. Alright, you know what? Limit time. Get him, Donald.
Christmas is in big trouble.
Gorge, we can't let anything bad happen to Christmas.
Apparently Christmas is universal.
That's where Santa Claus
Even
lives.
in, like, other fictional worlds. Okay. I'm gonna snoop around a little for some treasure. Did you ever try Goofy's Limit? I thought I had Goofy's Limit equipped. Hang on. Goofy. Teamwork. I guess not. Why did I not have that? You know what? Let's give it a whirl next time we have a chance. I don't want to use any AP boosts to get him there. Could probably change out the equipment to help with that, though. Give him a little more AP that way. But like I said, that will come in between recordings. Mega Potion. Mithril Stone. Okay.
Well, hello everyone. Did you come to see if you're on my nice list? Your name?
Sora, sir.
Let's see. Sora. Here you are. Well, according to my list, Sora, 7 years ago, you told everyone you did not believe in Santa Claus. Ooh, that is unfortunate.
How about Donald and Goofy? Oh, boy!
Actually, yeah, come to think of it, I think
Am I on
all
your
of
list
them
too, by any chance? It's me, Jack.
got their outfits
Skellington?
redone a little bit for this version.
What sort of trouble did you bring this time?
This time?
It's a long story.
Is it really that long of a story, though?
There.
You tried to take over Christmas duties before. You wound up scaring a bunch of kids instead. So it didn't go particularly well. And that's about it. Also, I'm like, the fact that he's trying to just, like, assume responsibility for Christmas again, not exactly a good idea on my part. Or, as far as I'm thinking.
Silence. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. That fool Jack brought Sora and the others with him. Now we can deal with all of them at once.
What do you want us to do?
Who's there?
Busted!
Maleficent can just sort of disappear like that.
It's Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Not those three.
I assure you they're not with us.
Well, whatever the case, they've been quite naughty. Catch them and bring them back here. They're going to get a lecture.
Mr. Claus, I wanted to talk to you about Christmas first.
It'll have to wait. I need to see how things are progressing in my workshop.
Come on, Jack. Let's catch those little pranksters.
Oh, all right then.
Makes you wonder how come Sora and them didn't seem to leave any footprints. These footprints could lead to those three kids. No, duh. Alright. Hold up, was that it for Goofy's Limit, or did I do it wrong?
Let's go! Ha, ha, thunder! Yeah, yeah, thunder! Yeah, yeah, thunder! Yeah, yeah, thunder! Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a real efficient way to use Thunder there. Just get it for the finisher. Oh, look at that. Drive gauge is back to full. Another puzzle piece. Okay. So with Goofy's Limit, I'm supposed to just, like, spam... Is it A and Y in this case? Or just one or the other? I think maybe part of the problem was I was just pressing A like crazy and not Y. Make out faint markings and footprints. Those looked more than faint to me. Alright, well, let's give it another go. Okay, yeah. That looks a bit more like it. Yeah. That's how a limit should work. I accidentally tried to do Valor Form, and it did Anti-Form instead. Now, would it have done Anti-Form either way?
I was so looking forward to destroying that ridiculous Christmas town. But now that Sora and those imbeciles are here, I think a change of plan is called for. Revenge before pleasure, after all.
What kind of revenge?
The magnificent, malevolent kind, of course.
That sounds really bad.
Like Oogie's kind of bad.
And that's super duper bad.
Oogie Boogie? That bag of incensed insects? How intriguing. And where might I find him?
Jack and his dumb, stupid friends destroyed him.
Ah, yes. Now I remember. More intriguing still. I believe I'll bring your master back for you.
Footprints seem fresh. Alright. So yeah, it helps a little more with this limit if you go back and forth.
Take this.
And yeah, the added ability to attack while Goofy's acting like a rocket is nice. So then we go over this way. More Heartless.
It's over.
Okay. Lots of little cutscenes.
I feel like a million bugs. I really owe you one for this, Maleficent.
Indeed you do, Oogie. Do you remember Sora, Donald, and Goofy?
Do I remember them? Ah! You're too much. I'll never forget what they did to me. What was it they did to me?
Squashed you like a bug.
That sounds bad.
And Jack helped.
Even worse.
They creamed you.
That's right. That's right. That's one thing I won't be forgetting anytime soon. It's the last thing I remember. And it's the only thing I'll remember until I teach those clowns not to mess with Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Yes, that's right. That's the spirit. And I have the perfect plan already in mind. Have you ever heard of Christmas Town?
Mr. Oogie!
Wake up! Wake up!
We want to see how bad you are.
It seems he needs more time to recover. You three, stay here and keep Sora and the others occupied. My Heartless will help you, but do not fail.
There they are.
Stop them!
Tie him down!
Get him!
Ah, yes. This boss.
Take this. Back off. Back off. This is it. Donald. Yeah.
Ah, come on, I was so close. If it would just let me up a little higher and or over a little farther, I could hit it. There we go. Better. See, now this would be the kind of situation to use Valor for. Oh, great. I could have stopped it from doing a thing and wound up not doing so because of being in anti-form again. Was it because I didn't complete a round of anti-form before that it has me going back? Deflected. Well, I'm not stopping that, that's for sure. Come on. There we go. Okay. Alright, more Comet. Or at least significant parts of Comet can hit even while it's in the air. Like, way high up in the air. Go ahead, you just keep trying to hit me with that fireball attack. I'll keep deflecting it back. Ain't no thing. Now this is the part I have trouble dealing with. At least, unless I have Donald's limit or some kind of like, or it gets real close to the middle there, I guess. Oh, come on. I'm like, I just need to get a finisher in here. Okay. Jake says, because I went into a room that knocked me out of drive, it didn't count as using anti-form. Gotcha. Alright. That was fun. Let's go see if Mr. Oogie's ready. Oogie? Isn't he the one who tried to take over Halloween Town before? That's him. Fellows, I hope you're ready for trouble. Don't we have enough trouble already?
Confound it, now I've lost my way. Oh, this is utter foolishness. I should be getting ready for Christmas.
Is that you, Mr. Santa Claus?
Yes, but please call me Santa Claus.
Of course. Mr. Santa Claus, I was hoping I'd find you here. You see, it's very important that you go back to Christmas Town. I'm afraid something terrible is going to happen if you don't.
Well, I am behind on my preparations. All right, tell Jack I'll be waiting for him at home. He had something to say to me about Christmas.
But that's just it. Please, go home and lock the door. And if Jack knocks, don't open it.
There. The large one in red.
All I gotta do is kidnap him?
That's right. Lock him up at once. Then begin destroying Christmas Town. That's sure to make Sora and the other fools come running.
And then they're all mine!
Yes. And in the meantime, I'll turn Santa Claus into Santa Heartless.
Are we done?
Who's there?
Seems to me it shouldn't really be possible to turn Santa into a Heartless. You would think he'd be, like, too pure. What's wrong, Sally? Jack, Oogie's kidnapped Santa Claus. Oh no! And he's headed for Christmas Town. Come on, Jack, let's hurry. So apparently Knock Smash is also good for hitting things up high. Some of the attacks I could definitely see that. What would Santa Heartless look like? Yeah, I'm not real sure about that. Okay, really? And there are no other enemies around. Bummer. Now we got more enemies. I don't really like those big elemental Heartless there. Also, hi, Magelin.
I've done a little redecorating. Wait, something's not quite right. I know what it is. We just need a little more of that boogie flair.
I do hope our jolly old friend is looking forward to becoming a Heartless. Oh, clumsy oaf!
Are you still here? Why don't you boogie on back where you came from? You're cramping my style.
Have you already forgotten who brought you back, you insolent bag of bugs?
Sorry, can't remember a thing.
Very well, you ingrate. You'll rue the day you spurned my help.
Maybe Santa Heartless would just look like friggin' Blackbeard the pirate.
That's Santa's house.
Yeah, and it's clearly in trouble. Saving again. How are we doing on time? Yeah, I could do a little something more for this recording.
Back off!
I am trying my hardest in this playthrough to use drive forms and limits a whole lot more than I did previous times playing this. Hey, look at that. Wisdom form has leveled up. Okay. Into Santa's house. Still in this form, eh? Cutscene.
Jack Skellington!
Oogie!
You and I have a score to settle, Jack. Same goes for your little sidekicks.
What are you planning to do with Sandy Claus?
Who? Santa Claus? I don't know what you're talking about. And why is this roly-poly red guy here? Time to go, Grandpa! Huh?
Mr. Santa Claus!
Why, you... Ah!
Alrighty. Major boss battle time. Again? What do you mean again? You say that like this has happened before.
Nice views about here.
Use the presents to drop Oogie off the lift. Oh. Oh, this is a bit of a waste of wisdom form now, but oh well. Just in case I get a chance to use some magic while I'm still in that form. Nope. Immediately left that the moment he came down.
Hope you like the boogie gift I picked out for you. That's right, away you go.
Should I be attacking these things or not? Are they gonna spawn heartless whether or not I hit them? Or do I don't know. Oh, well, okay. I need to wait for this to... Ah, come on. Trying to get through one of these things. There we go. Okay. I forgot that that was a reaction command. Oh yeah. This isn't going too bad. Also, the fact that some of his traps are basically getting rid of some of the Heartless for me, definitely not going to argue with that. Okay, back to the middle. Yeah, this kind of thing. And now he's off to the right. Ow. Thanks, Donald. No, not left. It changed it like the last second there. Okay, come on. To the right, please. I would like to go to the right. Okay, these dudes are getting really annoying. There we go. Okay, finally.
Now you just try dodging this. That's right, away you go. That's right, away you go.
Okay, cool. That's where I needed to go.
Now you just try dodging this. That's right, away you go. I'll swing back. That's right, away you go.
Okay.
Donald!